Okay, we're into part 5 now. I'm going to show you how I carved the details in the right hand, going from the block that I attached in part 4. So let's just get right into this one. Okay, we got our thumb block on there, and again, plenty of oversized on this half and oversized on the thumb itself. And what we're going to do is just kind of rough that in. We're not going to do all the final on it at this point. We're just going to kind of bring that in a little bit. And one thing I mentioned before is I intended to have the angle of the hand kind of tipped out like that, but I don't know if I want it quite that much, but that's okay. We can still correct that. There's plenty here. I can just kind of reshape this block a little bit. I'm going to start by bringing this outside corner over, and then we'll just kind of start rounding, pick a spot for our thumb, and we'll just kind of get it closer to where we want to be. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, I think I like that better. Now let's just kind of start rounding stuff out here. Start on the inside bottom. We know we need to at least come down to the point where we're matching up between the two pieces. Okay, we have the bottom there. One thing to keep in mind with this, it's kind of a caricature version of a hand, an arm coming up, and a thumb. I mean, this is clearly oversized. That's kind of what my intention is with it. So we need to start thinking a little bit about what the thumbs up looks like. Oh, there's one. I found my pattern right there. So that I tend to do that if I can. I'll just look at what's going on here. So if I hold this with my hand tilted a little bit, you can see that my thumb is kind of on the inside edge of the wrist. It's up like that. The outside would be where the fingers start wrapping around. So on here, we're going to want to have the thumb towards the inside. Now this still needs to be brought together on the inside a little bit, so we're not quite there yet. Let's just say our thumb is going to be roughly here. Something like this. And then this will be, the hand comes out and the fingers will wrap around this way. Okay. So we can bring this part of the thumb down like that. And then on the front, and you look at, you got the 4 bumps here for your fingers. And for the most part, it just kind of makes a rectangle. I mean, everybody's different, right? Or it depends on how you hold your hand. But like from what angle too. My is going to be tipped a little bit this way. So when you look at it from the side, you'll have this kind of ridge here, and then we'll have the 4 bumps out just a little further. So we'll probably have a ridge, like the first knuckle will be right here. And in the center out here, we'll have the other 4. So we can kind of bring this in a little bit here. And let's go ahead and bring that thumb over a little bit. Go ahead like this. Well, let's take a look at how the thumb meets the hand. It's going to come up here at the wrist and then just kind of be a slope, a curvy slope up to the point of the thumb. So we want to kind of bring this in, and we have real estate to go from this side over to here a little bit, so we want it to kind of slope up that way. So we're going to try to get just the point of our knife in here and start working that curve. Now this still needs to come down here a little bit, so we can start that curve a little farther back. Would help us out. Just a little bit anyway. It can be kind of subtle. Kind of a hard thing to get at and show you guys at the same time. That snapping is I'm trying to go too tight of a curve there. Oh, caught a little of the super glue. Now let's look at what we're going to have here in the relationship to the front of the thumb to the rest of the hand. It's going to be a little less than 90 degrees here, and it kind of curves back up. And we have that little less than a 90 here, but we're going to put a little bit of curve at the top. We still have to bring the thumb over to that side a little more. So let's try to round off the back side here a little bit. Try to get this where you can see. And we're not smoothed out there. Okay, have this tight little spot in here. I'm going to kind of hold my knife upside down and hold it like a pencil and just take real thin shavings back in here. I don't have a lot of room to work and I don't want to use a lot of force. I mean, this is still a pretty good sized piece, but you start pushing on it real hard, you could break the whole thing off. Which we might do that yet too. But at this, I just think thin shavings. You see how it's just kind of curling up on the knife there? Just kind of shave it off. Now we could have carved some of this before we glued it on, which would have been fine also. But it's not what we did, so this is how we do it. Okay. I'm going to bring this down here a little bit, thin up this arm, forearm. Okay, so that we get this right, a little bit to go here to come together. There we go. Now you can see we've carved down here and started that curve up here, but we've got this kind of curve up to a block wall here, so we got to keep curving that up. Taking another look here at the model. Didn't know I'd have a modeling career when I was at this age, or any age. So we need this to curve back a little bit. Again, just trying to shift the thumb over to the inside of the hand. And it's at this point you want to start thinking, I need to be careful. As these pieces get smaller, thinner. Take your time. Just carefully getting that piece out of there. You can see we're starting to shift that over. It's still a little too wide, so we'll keep going. Maybe we'll start where this kind of this block edge is. Do a little curl cuts here so we can show that at least my thumb kind of curves back. That we're starting to get that look. We're getting there. A little rough right there from where we broke off the piece. Try to shave some of that off. Again, at this stage, my goal is just to get it roughly there. You know, before we're done, we'll come back in and smooth things a little better. Maybe add some detail. Well, I was going to say thumbnail, but I think I want to put a green thumb guard on the top there, because, you know, I usually have one of them on. Trying to just smooth that line, the glue line there. That a little bit of glue, it's kind of giving me a hard time trying to make some smooth curves there. So I'm going to come back here a little bit further, just like we did on the other side. Come back up higher on the forearm, go down and then curve back up to it. It'll give us a little bit more of that curved look we want, and it'll also allow me to come in to that transition there. Still a little line there I don't like. We can afford to come down a little bit more here. Take my number 5 here. No, I want the number 8. It's my number 8. See if I can do the old wiggle push. There, I think that was just enough to clean up that edge. Okay, I'm liking that. Now that's coming around. The thumb is a little too wide yet. If you look here, you know, we've already talked about the thumb being off to the inside. So this is just kind of a harsh, not harsh, but just a 90-degree angle here on my hand, you know. And I think, you know what that is? That's carving muscle. It kind of humps out over here. So we'll bring this in a little bit, and then we'll kind of curve it down to the front. Oop. You want to get my knife right down in here to round it this way. Just get the very tip in there. As we come back, curve it up. Take a tight little curve. Kind of pull the knife back as we bend it around that curve. Trying to avoid some of that chatter. I'm just trying to work on the back side of that curve. Again, it's kind of a tight area. Just kind of a shave and slight, or a shave and curve. That's looking pretty good, huh? Okay, now as I mentioned before, we'll come down on the front here a little bit. Trying to hold pressure against this so I'm not putting too much sideways force on there. It's not cutting real easy across the end grain there. You want to bring that down a little bit more here. Clean up some of these saw marks. Trying to keep this ridge going here. That's that first knuckle. On the back side, kind of angle that down towards the inside a little bit. Just noticing I've been making some little knife marks in there. We'll have to clean those up as we go. So let's talk about or look at our fingers here. I'm pretty happy with the thumb. Again, later we'll come back and make a line around here for the bottom of my thumb guard and clean this up, smooth it out, and see if there's any other details we want to do. But now we want to do fingers. And you can see the two middle fingers are maybe a little bigger. The first three pretty close in size, close enough to, we'll just plan that, and my pinky a little smaller and a little shorter. And these two, the knuckles stick out just a little bit more. It's kind of a gentle arch around here. So, and that will be out here. We want to bring, so we have our first knuckle here. So we want to bring that over, and let's say to probably about right here will be our second knuckle. And then after that, it'll be we'll have this left over to have our fingers bent pointing back this way. So we have 4, right? At least I currently do, as long as I keep wearing my thumb guard and cutting glove. We'll just go ahead and kind of divide this in half here. Well, first, before we draw that on there, let's bring this from the first knuckle to the second knuckle. Let's create that plane, and we'll try to do it just kind of a gentle curve across the top here. Okay, so we have that. We'll round this bottom a little bit before we lay out our fingers. And this will get rounded just a little bit also. The wood wants to split right there pretty easy. You gotta be careful. Okay, we'll call that good for now. So now let's lay out our fingers, and we'll just go roughly in the center, and then we'll divide that roughly again, and again down here. And this will probably actually have, at least on my hand, it's like I tend to have a little bit of a gap between my pinky and that, so we might just kind of draw that like this too. Okay, and then so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. This top one still pretty thick, so let's draw this in here so it's comparable in size, and then we'll know that we need to bring this kind of down. And if we look at this here, like I said, mine curves down here from the base of the thumb down to that knuckle. So that's what we want to have. In fact, I think I drew that a little bit wrong. We'll use this eraser. It doesn't make as much of a mess. Okay, so from here, I actually went like this, and that's wrong. It doesn't curve up like this. It comes out this way and down. Something like that. Okay, and then we'll have basically our fingers here, and then those we'll want to have something like this. Curve back. See, that comes, the heel of my hand sticks out further than where my fingers come back in. So that's kind of what we want right there. Okay. So let's mark those out a little bit. Again, working out at the end of this piece, things are getting thinner and easier to snap things off, so we're going to be careful. Here we made a little wider V cut. Trying to get in the groove there. And on here we'll kind of take a little bit narrower pass just to mark them out for now. Okay, and then I'm going to do that on the top of this. I'm going to come at it from the front here. Trying to be very controlled here so I don't go too far and slice off my thumb. Okay, I did a little more work on this thumb off camera. Just added a little more detail around the fingers. There's still going to be some more cleanup and stuff we'll do later. We'll leave that for now. And I'm going to turn my attention to the face. Or I guess I could say my face.